Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Pineville City Council meeting. Today's date is October the 14th, 2025. The time is 5 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order with the invocation by Councilman Nathan Martin, the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Tom Boucher. Please stand.
Thank you, Mayor. Join with me as we pray. Father, we're gathered today with a gratitude in our hearts, knowing that it's only by your grace that we are here. You've selected us for this season. Those of us who have been chosen by our peers through the election process, we're grateful for that. Those who are here representing the voices of the community, we're grateful that each one is here. We pray that as we walk through this agenda and work our way from the beginning to the end, it will be done, as we often say, decently. May we do it in order. May we hear the heart of each one and make decisions guided by your wisdom. On this day, Lord, we're reminded of the blessings we have of being a part of this great country. We give you thanks for that in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilman O'Neill.
Here.
Councilman Dorn. Here. Councilwoman Frederick.
Here.
Councilman Boucher.
Here.
Councilman Martin.
Present, sir.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Just like to remind everybody, if you have a cell phone, please place it in a silent mode at this time. Also, too, if there's any questions on any agenda items, please stand or raise your hand at that time, and you will be recognized. Moving right along, I'd like to recognize a few people here tonight. We have our District Attorney, Mr. Philip Turrell. Thank you, Philip, for being here tonight. Our Pineville City Judge, Mr. Gary Hayes. Gary, thank you for being here. Anybody else out there we need to recognize? Yeah, and also the newly elected Judge Cespeva, Brian Cespeva. Thank you, Brian, for being here. Thank you. And moving right along, item number 5, accept the minutes of the September 9th regular council meeting as published. I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Discussion. If no discussion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays, motion carries. Item number 6 is the financial report by Mr. David Humphreys.
Council members, if you'll look at your financial report, you'll see September was not good for sales tax collections. In fact, parish-wide sales tax collections were down overall. September, our beginning balance was $516,447 in cash. Deposits was $4,336,164. We had withdrawals of $4,114,226, leaving a cash balance of $738,385. Sales tax collections for September of 25 was $1,435,608 in comparison to September of 24, which was $1,560,657. So you're looking at right there a $125,000 decrease. Sales taxes was down parish-wide. This was just a time we have been up consecutively over 2 years. We've had 1 or 2 months that was down, but overall, we've been up every single month for 2 years. So that ladder, the bar kept being raised and raised and raised, and it's time, everything is just taking a breather and catching up. Occupational license was $6,634 in comparison to $1,852 as compared to September of 24. So we were up on occupational licenses. That's a timing issue. That's new businesses and everything that's open during the month. So that's why those are up. But overall, sales taxes did take a hit during the month of September.
Okay. Any questions to Mr. David Humphreys? If not, thank you, David.
All right, sir.
Appreciate you. Item number 7, recognize Judge Brian Cespeva on his appointment as District Judge and his nearly 10 years of dedicated service as Pineville City Prosecutor. Brian, come forward, please.
No, I'm thanking all of these people because they're the ones that hired you.
Absolutely.
Except for Randy, and Mary's over there. But Randy would have voted for me, I think.
Twice.
Thank you, Brian. On behalf of the city of Pineville, it's grateful appreciation in Brian Sispeter for his dedicated service as Pineville City Prosecutor from January 1, 2016 to October the 3rd, 2025. The city of Pineville extends its deepest gratitude for his integrity, commitment, timeless work in upholding justice and serving our community. We congratulate him on his appointment as district judge and wish him all the best in this new chapter in his distinguished career.
Yeah.
Real briefly, I was born and raised in the heart of District 2. My first job was with Murphy Rachel's brother, painting lines at the ballpark. With Stevie and Eugene. My dad served as District 2 council member. I remember knocking on doors and I was a little boy handing out his little push card in the middle of District 2. And I just thank y'all for the opportunity to have served the citizens of Pineville, you know, like my dad before me. And like we did at the ballpark when we were in high school. under the Honorable Fred Baker. Absolutely. I just appreciate everything. I look forward to working for y'all at the district court. And Philip kind of tells me all the time, don't say this, but I'm gonna tell y'all too. Our door is always gonna be open up at the district judge's office. We need to start getting around and seeing the people. I'll try to make it to more of these council meetings, and y'all are welcome to come up and drink coffee with us anytime. Philip tells me not to tell people that. I'll tell you, the other judge is gonna be mad at me.
Just,
Thank y'all.
just don't go through the front door right now.
It's been an honor.
With that being said, I would also like to introduce our new prosecutor for the city of Pineville, Ms. Shelby Terrell.
I know people have to go to attend some stuff in Ball and stuff, but we do have cake and some drinks in the hallway. So if you need to slip out, we understand that. Thank you. Appreciate y'all once again. Congratulations, Brian. Yes, thank you. Moving right along to old business. Hear from zoning regarding a petition of annexation of 6.046 acres of property located at 2445 Military Highway belonging to William Leatherman and Alvin Hernandez to be zoned as residential R1. Mr. David.
Mayor and council, the zoning commission met preceding this hearing, or this meeting. Our hearing considered a petition for annexation of a 6.046 acre tract of property located at 2445 Military Highway belonging to William Leatherman and Alvin Hernandez. It requested to be brought into the corporate limits and zoned as R1 residential. The matter was considered, and the zoning commission recommended approval of this request.
Okay.
Mr. David and maybe city attorney, I just want to ask a question. I want to ask this question to both of you, Mr. Villar and Mr. David. I didn't have my microphone on, sorry. Do we need to go ahead and clarify that he'll be coming into District 3 at this time, and how do we do that? Because there's a tiny wart of District 4, not really in the vicinity, but somewhat in the vicinity. And so there may be a question at the Planning Commission as to which
Ms.
one.
Frederick, that is such an easy answer. I'm going to defer that to our legal counsel.
When you look at the map, it's like no question they would be in District 3. The question was asked, and so I want to ask it.
So this is very rare that this kind of circumstance comes up.
Well, I guess we could wait, I guess.
Well, if you can address it tonight, that's better off and you're more efficient. If not, what's going to happen is it'll go to the Planning Commission, and they're going to kick it back for the council to determine the district. So if you know the answer, and if we know that it's going to go into District 3, if that's the case, then I would ask you to do that tonight as well, include that as part of the motion.
So we could add that to the motion?
Yeah, or make a separate
Annex
motion.
into the city limits into District 3?
Yes, and you can do that tonight,
And I
sure.
think the council has to decide that.
The council decides that, yes.
What would be your recommendation, Mr. Villar?
If we're there, to do it. If we're not, wait.
Oh, I would certainly, if you're there, go forward.
I mean, as for district, I mean, the information that you have before you.
My understanding is that the vast majority of this area is District 3. So to keep it consistent and on that particular side of the road, the vast majority of that entire area is District 3, so I would recommend District 3.
Okay. Okay.
That's my understanding of the geography.
Yeah, my understanding of my district is that it's clearly in District 3, but there was a question, so we felt like we needed to clarify.
Yeah, it's still up to the council, but given the geography, it feels like it should be in District.
And that's been the history of that,
Okay.
of that property on Myrtlewood. It's only been recently that the inside portion of
Very
it
small.
fell into District 4. But all the outside where it bumps up against is all District 3.
Okay.
So
All right.
what do we need to do to add that motion?
So I have a motion to accept the zoning commission's recommendation and also to add the language in there to place this property into District 3. So I have a motion
So move.
and need a second.
Second.
Second. Discussion.
And for a clarifying question, Mayor, the map that we're seeing
Doesn't show the
owns
district.
a large section, but the part in question is outlined in the heavy blue, green
The
lines,
green area,
correct?
yes.
Where's Mr. Leatherman?
So the actual 4 part is on the Myrtlewood side, correct? Is that what we're speaking? That it's a small portion of land on Myrtlewood?
If I may, I'm sorry, the church, the property, the first guy met, the church behind his property that backs up to it is in District 4.
But there is a buffer between those two, and it just touches it. Okay, I see where we're going
And then
now.
the inside of Myrtlewood is District 4.
Okay, because I didn't see where that was a conversation
It was never.
piece there, but I see now.
I don't
I
think the
see why
church is
we
in
can come
4.
over.
That church.
There's no voter there. There's no voter there, but I don't think that's 4. I mean, my territory goes all up in there.
Last time I looked at the map, the lake was
Was it? Well, you might be right.
Really?
Yeah, I have to look at the map every time.
Okay, so it's going to be placed, I have a motion and a second to place this property in District 3. Is that correct by you? Everybody, okay?
Yeah.
Any public discussion? If none, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And roll call vote, please.
Councilman O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilman Dorn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Frederick.
Yes.
Councilman Boucher,
Yes.
Councilman Martin.
Yes.
Mayor, motion passed.
Thank you. Moving right along. Item number 9, consider adopting an ordinance and amend the modified code of ordinance to add Chapter 24, Article IV, Section 24-51, relative to leasing airplane storage space at the Pineville Municipal Airport. I need a motion.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
I need a second.
Second.
Second. Discussion, Mr. Mark Villar.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I was asked to discuss a little bit about the airport leases and how we got where we are today. So let me kind of give you a little bit of background. It appears that back in late '89 and spring of '90, there were a number of what I call hangar leases out at the Pineville Municipal Airport that were entered into during Mayor Baden's administration. Those leases were for 10-year terms with an option for a renewal of an additional 10 years. Those leases have all been renewed and all expired at this point, some in 2009 or approximately that time frame. So since 2009, all of the airplane hangar leases have been on a month-to-month basis. The rent amounts for this entire time has been $25 per month. The administration asked me to look into how do those leases get renewed and what are the options. It just is part of their going through all of the things that they have to do at the City of Pineville as a new administration. So I looked into it. There are various laws that could potentially apply. First, as I said, there's a month-to-month. At this point, they're on month-to-month leases with no option to renew, which means we have to enter into new leases with everyone. To enter into a new lease, there's several laws that could apply. One is 33:4712, and I actually have a copy of it for the council, so I'll pass it out to you. This is on the sale, exchange, and lease of property by municipality law. If you don't mind, could you just pass that? There's also that could potentially apply to 135.1. Both of those statutes require that leases of public property go out for bid by ordinance of the council that sets the minimum requirements of the bid. The things that have to be included in it at a minimum, including 2:135.1, which says the same thing. Under 2:135.1, there is a provision under Section 4 that talks about how to do it and the minimum prices and all the things that go with it if your airport is an airport that receives FAA funding, or if your airport is eligible for FAA funding, neither of which apply to Bulow Airport. Which means, under that statute, as well as Attorney General opinions that I have, one of which is issued in 2012, that dealt with the Iberia Parish Airport Authority, as well as what's called the Lemaire Municipal Airport, which is in Jeanerette, address these issues directly. The Iberia Airport was an airport that received FAA funding, and because of that, they were allowed to go under 2:135.1. The Lemaire Airport did not receive FAA funding, and they were required to go under the sale, exchange, and lease of property law. So even if the mayor and administration had wanted to enter into new leases at a new amount, they couldn't. By law, they're prohibited from doing that. It has to go to bid. The council sets the minimum requirements per the ordinance. Understand that if it goes for bid, and the minimums, in this case, $150 per month, the highest bidder that will comply with the lease terms is who's going to get the leases of this area, okay? So the city essentially is left with two options. And by the way, there's a legislative auditor's report, I'm sorry, from August of 2004 that talks about a summary of the public lease law, and it specifically states that leases of a movable property have to go out for bid. So under every law that I could find, I'm not aware of any other law, and if there is, I'd be glad to listen to that and consider it. This has to go out for bid if these leases are going to renew. If the leases are not going to renew, and the council or the mayor's office chooses not to do that, they're on a month-to-month basis, which means the current lease or the current hangar lessees would be given 30 days' notice to vacate. At that point, they would have an option to vacate the premises. They own the hangars that are there now, so they could either choose to take the hangars with them or leave the hangars in place, and they become the property of the city of Pineville. I've never been told that the city wanted to do that. The city has always wanted to try to renew these leases in as easy a manner as possible. Unfortunately, in this case, it has to go to bid. There's just no way around it if we're going to continue to lease this space to members of the public. So that's where you are, okay? The other issue is that we have now introduced an ordinance, and the ordinance is coming up for adoption tonight. I'm dealing with State Public Lands Office and other properties without the city of Pineville. Everyone's aware of the prior looks from the legislative auditor and those things that are going on there. If the ordinance isn't dealt with tonight, one way or the other, the city's going to be in a position where they're going to have to issue notices to vacate, because we're now aware of the situation and we have to deal with it. So, council, this is where we are. We passed ordinance tonight or not, and then we have to issue notice to vacate if the ordinance didn't pass tonight. Unfortunately, I hate to say that, but that's where we are. So at this point, I don't see any other options other than to either put it out to bid or do notices to vacate. And then whatever happens, what would happen in the bid process is if this ordinance is passed, we will put a bid packet together that I'll present to the mayor for approval. We will get the bids out, or the requests for proposals. There'll be timeframes in which they could respond to those bids. They'll be opened, and then the top 13, I believe, is the number of hangars that meet the minimum requirements who would receive the option or the right to lease those particular spaces. That's the process.
Do we know, would they have to pay the whole amount of the lease with a certified check when they win, or how, is that
No, it's
part
month
of-
to month.
It would be part of the process?
It's month to month, it's a
I
month to,
read something
I'm sorry.
about if you win a bid, you got to pay the whole thing by certified check.
No, no.
That may be
it's-
for a
it's-
theme
it's
you
a-
buy.
It's going to be, it's for a lease that requires a monthly rental amount.
Yeah.
The bid packet itself may require small, processing fee, but nothing beyond that. And then whoever wins the bid, there's going to be a lease, a draft lease attached to the bid packet that they would be willing to sign, and then that lease would be signed, and then would just start the process within the city.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the council?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So any way this goes, Mr. Villar, that up or down, we still have to, if we go down with it, then people have to move,
Yes.
all right? And if we move forward with it, it has to go out for
Bid.
bids.
Yep. Yep, has to go out for bids.
So there's really.
The city doesn't have the ability to negotiate the leases without going through the bid process. Not in this case.
It's just not an easy
No,
answer.
this is very
no matter
difficult.
what. It's just a complicated thing.
It's very
You gotta
difficult.
do it right.
No one's mad at anybody. And, the administration has constantly said, is there a way around this? And the answer is no. I mean, the Attorney General opinions and the law is very clear on this, and I just don't have a way around it.
Well, I guess, do we have to set the minimum bid at 150?
The council sets whatever that minimum bid number is.
Okay. Because it's going to go out. I mean, irregardless of, if we don't, then automatically if I'm understanding correctly, it's pretty much a letter of termination, eviction.
Yeah, essentially, yes.
Okay, so if, other than that, the only way that there is a possible opportunity for those who have appreciated the airport for a number of years would be to go to the bid process.
That's correct.
Okay, so we set the minimum bid price.
That's
price,
correct
is what
also.
you're saying.
That's correct also. yes.
Okay. I mean, I'm just want to make sure that I'm clear on
Because it's
that.
passed by ordinance, so the council is going to set the minimum bid amount, whatever that number is.
Yeah,
And-
so either way, if for some reason this ordinance went down tonight, in order for us to get, the airport and have pilots out there who wanted to store their planes, we'd have to end up passing an ordinance to get the bid process going.
Yes.
Whether that was next month or 6 months down the road or
No, but-
whatever, we'd have to go through this process.
So if, for example, if there was notices to vacate issued, and you decided you want to lease it at a future time, it would be by bid.
Yeah.
But as, where we are right now, I mean, we pretty much painted ourselves into this corner where it has to go to bid, because if we do anything else, saying that we needed to have more time for discussion or reasonable amount of sitting at the table to kind of hash through these matters, then the people that are there currently now would have to vacate the premises.
And
We
within
wouldn't
30
have
days.
time.
Within 30 days.
Let me ask about, we understand that we're negotiating spaces.
That's correct.
Hangars have been built, and we don't own the hangars
Right. In this case.
in this.
There are some hangars we own, but not these.
Yeah.
And in that, so what happens if it goes to bid and someone wins the bid at a space where someone else had built the hangar?
They can either sell it to them or remove it or vacate and leave it for the city to own.
That's a private matter between.
That's a private matter between
Owner and
the hangar owner's choice and whoever the bidder is.
I guess, Councilman, were you concerned about the 150 being maybe up for discussion?
Yeah.
I'll just share my opinion. Those hangars have utilities attached to them that come from another provider, not the city of Pineville, and the city pays those bills. If you were to try to get those services on your own, you wouldn't be getting them for $25. And the city now assumes all of the utility risk for the power and the water on every single one of those properties. I went out there and looked, and there's lights showing, and I don't think there's any abuse, but if you had a leaky hose out there, the city has had a high bill because of a leak in the past. So we have all of the risk for that, and we're gonna try to recoup it from a lease payment. So we're taking a bit of a risk there. I don't think the 150 is excessive. When I look at what general aviation hangars are going for, if you can get one at any price, this is a good price. For the space, just the space thing. Just,
You have time.
just the space is at a premium. General aviation in general is very rare, and if you have a small airport like ours, that's what's precious to us. There's no jets coming to Bulow. They're not happening.
Right.
But anywhere you can land a jet, the general aviation places are being wiped out to land, to put jets there where the big bucks are. It's unfortunate. I have 3 brothers who are aviators. They live this every day. So we have a rare thing to be able to accommodate the smaller craft. And I think we want to make more of that and make it happen. But we have to look the taxpayer and the ratepayer in the eye every day and say, we're not subsidizing your rates and your taxes with a public asset to be letting it go for less than the market value. That's against the law.
Yeah.
And it's a guess. You do an assessment. What's the market bearing? And I think the administration has done a good job. I've done some research to try to get a feel for what is the market bearing for this piece of square footage that we're talking about. I mean, tell me if it's not right.
I'm gonna let the chief address.
So, Ms. Frederick, to kind of address some of the things that you talked about, and one thing you said that I completely agree with is that our airport is unique when you try and step out and do comparisons across the board. When we first started looking at this, trying to wrap our mind and hands around it, the previous administration had dealt with a consultant out of Dallas-Fort Worth, and after a couple of conversations with them, they were trying to place us in a bucket with England Air Park, which we don't fit in that bucket whatsoever, right? So we terminated that contract we had with them, paid them out through Mr. Humphreys, and kind of went on about this our own way. One of the first people I contacted was Mr. Stephen McKay, who's our auditor, our city auditor that all of you know, and just asking Stephen, without you divulging any information from other cities and towns to me about their finances, can you generally tell me, about an airport? And gave him some of our numbers. So one of the first things he told me, he said that 2 airports that are smaller than ours in the Central Louisiana area, Central Louisiana region, I should say, Central Louisiana region, actually turns a profit. And after having that discussion with the mayor about it, we realized that we're not looking for this to be a cash cow or turn a profit. We're just trying to make it make economic sense for the council and the citizens, like what Ms. Frederick had said. And so when you look out and make phone calls and you go visit other airports where you can kind of say in our area, you may, Pollock is the closest one when you take out England Air Park and Esther Field, because those are, outside of our class range type thing. When you look at Pollock, I drove it as a policeman doing speed evoc training, and you bounce completely off the runway whenever you go around it. And we just, along with the previous administration, I think almost a $2 million project of overlaying the runway. And then you look at airport length. Well, we're kind of bound by the 3,000 where we're at, unless KCS and Union Pacific shuts down tomorrow and gives us the railroad property, which I doubt is going to happen, or somebody fills in the lake with dirt. The airport, the runway is going to remain where it is. And so you have to make those comparisons along. And when you look at the region overall, there's a couple of things to think about. So Natchitoches, which I know is a jet and they have a longer runway, but just for a space lease, because we want to use that word, is $4,000 a year, which breaks down to about $333 a month for a space lease. And we understand it's not a jet, so if you divide that in half of what we are, we kind of come up with $150 of where we're sitting at for the minimum tonight. We made a trip to Leesville, went around the airport, looked at it. They are currently in an expansion, and they fell into the category that Mr. Vilar was talking about, that they don't receive the DOTD funds. They're strictly federal, and they're actually doing an expansion because they have the availability and the good fortune to have Fort Polk right there touching them to be able to do that. And so they're in the process of doing the expansion, I think out to 5,500, somewhere around their feet. Their hangar rentals are 160, 250, and 320. And when you break it down, it comes out, from what the mayor told us, it comes down to about $15 a square foot. And when you measure our hangars, well, ours is about $783 a square foot is where the 150 would actually get us. Their tie down, which is for those that don't know, just to make sure, that's when a plane is just sitting out on the asphalt with no cover over it. Their tie down is 125, and we spoke to Mr. Vilar to make sure it was a specification that anything that is not related to the FBO, which is a separate ordinance and negotiation that we'll do, will be set at $75. So there again, it's about a little bit, kind of about half of what they do. Through this, I've heard picturesque and seaplanes and all of that the things that go along with it. And, the seaplane is a completely different thing when you talk about seaplane, and that we have that unique part that's here. We haven't seen a seaplane do, and we have to work through that as that process goes. And I think maybe the FBO has some type of equipment that if one's worked on to bring it on land to go through that. But like I said, that's kind of separate from this. Two things that maybe Mr. Vilar, and I'm not trying to bring him back up, but in case part of the lease, when the leases are issued or when that will happen, it will be a triple net lease, which has to deal with insurance liability and several other things. It will be a more complicated lease than what came from 1999, and that's just ensuring the liability insurance and other things to protect the city that we have to do. The other thing is to remember is that, to Mr. Dorn's point, is that if the council makes the move to drop it, still want to just make sure everybody understands where we're at, and myself and Mr. Vilar had this conversation, is that if you drop it to $100 and somebody else shows up besides the current hangar physical owners and bids $200, that's who gets awarded the lease. So no matter what that bottom number is, it's a public bid. It has to go out for public bid. It has to go out to the highest bidder. So, I mean, in general, some other things that we looked at, and this is airport total, and this is when Mr. Humphreys, if need be, I think he can maybe answer some of these questions a little bit further. In last fiscal year, we spent $114,465. And where we're at now, we spent $40,912, and that's just the city's out-of-pocket expense that we use to maintain the airport. That's not including crews that go and mow grass on a daily basis, or when growing season's going to come in maybe almost two days a week, doing other things that we do. This is strictly the maintenance that goes along, sewer, water problems, all those things that goes along. So when you look at it holistically, because we realize from the administration side that we have two different things. We have an FBO and we have hangars present, and that we have to deal with both of those separately. We don't want to put all the burden on the FBO, and we don't want to put all the burden on the hangar owners. And your next one would be to enter and negotiate, to allow the mayor to begin enter and negotiate with the current FBO to see, where we can negotiate and go forward with that to kind of gain some ground on that. So I'll answer any questions that I can. I think I've basically given as much information between myself and Mr. Vilar unless we've left anything out. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Any public comment? Please state your name and your address, please, when you get up to the mic.
Jeremy Seegers, 4615 Parliament Drive, Suite 202, Fine Legal Services. I represent the group of the current tenants of the Bulow Airport. I want to address a couple of things right off the bat, I understand Mr. Vilar's statement with regard to the legislative auditor and whether you have to vote up or down on this particular ordinance tonight, and I understand that y'all have sort of, as Mr. Dorn pointed out, painted yourself into a corner. I agree. I commend the city for taking an active interest in the Bulow Airport and exercising and utilizing it as an asset for the city. It's a great thing. I think that the deal with Pafford coming in and building their maintenance hangar is also a boon for the city. To address, and I apologize that my sight is not very good. It's Ms. Fredericks,
Yes,
correct?
Mr. Seeger.
To address one of your points, which was that currently the city is paying out for utilities and maintenance and all of those related issues, your new lease and your ordinance specifies, and Mr. Humphreys also specified that this is a triple net lease, which includes the tenants are responsible for the payment of all property taxes. Right now, you aren't charging property taxes there. The tenants are responsible for all insurance. The tenants are responsible for all maintenance and or repairs of the space. I'm going to assume that you're going to amend this ordinance also to add utilities. So from where I'm standing, you are, yes, I understand that you have a responsibility to your citizens to make sure that you're not using this asset for a less than market value, but part of that expense that you have been paying out is resolved by the terms of your ordinance and the terms of your lease. You're not going to owe those expenses anymore, period.
I don't think they're all separately metered.
Well, and that's something that I think that this council needs to look at, because you have 11 different, or 13 different spaces, and you're going to have 13 different, potentially 13 different tenants. And each space really does need to be metered separately.
We might need to look into.
But we don't have to meter it separately.
We might need to look into that, but it's not going to be an inexpensive option for CLECO and Water District 3 to separately meter, run all new systems to each of the, you're talking about you're talking about separate to each one.
Yeah.
They might can do it, but it won't be inexpensive.
Well,
They don't use that much to make that worth that.
Well, it's one of those things that I can't speak to the expense of CLECO doing it or Water District Number 3 having to do it, but you've got 13 different tenants.
Well, there's a lot of tenants, though, that are now, they all just, the landlord takes care of all of that, but the tenants are paying presumably some of that risk to the landlord, and that's where we are. But they don't see a separate bill for the utilities, but they're consuming the utilities, or they're there for them.
And
But the landlord is getting the bill, and he's assuming that risk. That's pretty common.
And I would agree with you in a certain respect, that you have some multi-purpose buildings that have one, and you have certain multi-purpose buildings that have 3 or 4 or 5. With respect to the argument regarding the Leesville Airport and its $125 tie-down payment, I respectfully submit that Leesville's airport is a lot different than Bulow. It's got runways that are longer. It's basically, it's the equivalent of the airport at Opelousas, the airport at Natchitoches, the airport out at Essler Field. It's not quite the size of AEX. I think you're putting those, I think you need a smaller bucket for Bulow's airport. Bulow has a 3,000-foot runway in which your business aviation class jets, they can land, they can't take off. So it has a very limited utility for those type of aircraft. And what you're asking anybody, whether it's the current tenants or anybody who bids in the future, you're asking your customer base to swallow a 600% increase in what they are paying in rent. The market's going to dictate whether somebody will come in and pay that fee or not. What I would respectfully suggest is that you would knock that number down to something substantially less than that and let the market work. And if somebody wants to pay $150 for that space of that dirt that is sitting there, go ahead and all for it. But what you run the risk of is you run the risk of Bulow Airport basically having all of these tie-down hangars taken away in empty space, and you've got an asset that's sitting there and generating no revenue. And that's what I would be afraid of if I were sitting in your shoes, is we're getting money now. We're going to get money. But the risk is you don't have a whole bunch of people in the market that, with these type of planes, that are able to land and fly, take off out of that airport. And you can't expand that airport. It's bordered by a lake and it's bordered by the railroad. You're stuck with those confines. And what you're asking whomever enters into these leases, you're asking them to make basically a $20,000 investment, where currently they're making a $3,000 investment. I agree with, it's one of those that I don't know of any business, and look, government is not private business, but government is also business as far as I'm concerned. You want to maximize your assets, and you want to reduce your liabilities. And by adopting this ordinance as it is, with the potential for a $150 a month lease note, is that you have the very, very good potential that you'll have no bidders. And you'll have an asset that's sitting there depreciating with zero income coming in. I respectfully suggest that you lower the minimum bid to somewhere around $50 to $75 and let the market play out. Are there, I will say this. There are current tenants who are out there who have paid past November of 2024, 2025, tried to make it last year, sorry. This council needs to give considerations to those already existing contracts. There's no grandfather clause to those existing contracts. Granted, I agree with Mr. Villar, they're month-to-month leases that have been basically have been paid in advance. And so there are potential where you are looking at small refunds that are coming out of those. Do any of you have any questions of me?
Mr. Cedar, just a clarifier. In the triple net lease, you had mentioned, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I apologize if I am wrong, but you had mentioned that the water, sewer, and electricity would be, on the aviators that are out there, but I don't see it anywhere in the lease, or in the ordinance, where the triple net is for property tax, insurance, and maintenance and/or repairs of the space.
I said if I were you, I would amend this to add the utilities to it, to take care of that particular issue.
Well, that could be part of the bid process,
but that-
I guess, that you're just what you're
Yeah,
bidding for.
correct.
Doesn't have to be in the ordinance, maybe.
Mr. Villar, would you like to rebuttal?
Just real quick.
Yeah.
In the lease itself and in the ordinance itself, it says including but not limited to.
Yeah, all right.
Adoption
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you, Mr. Cedars.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions, comments?
We got mics at both sides,
Okay.
either way,
Whichever's easier.
whichever's closest.
State your name and address, and you have 3 minutes, sir.
David Corian, I live at 630 Denny Road, DeVille, Louisiana. So I first want to address that. I think the city has it wrong. They're focusing on buildings that are being leased, and they're comparing that to other airports, of which the airport is not equivalent to City of Pineville. This airport started leasing tie-downs, simple tie-downs that I can move my plane 2 spots over and pay $15 a month all day long. In fact, Leesville, and it was called today, Leesville was called today, they charge $15 a month for their tie-down. If I buy 15 gallons of gas, I don't pay them anything per month, and that's Leesville. You can call them yourself.
We was there.
Well,
We
we
was there,
understand
sir.
if you want to make that move. I mean, we're not
Yeah.
trying to be, mad at you if you do that. You
Yeah.
need to do what's right for you.
Well, I can actually tear my building down and keep my plane there. It's a tie-down and still pay $15 a month. So I have a question.
fine.
So on the hangars that's going to be up for bid, will that Pafford hangar be up for bid?
Sir, Pafford Ambulance Services is building that building 100% with their money. No
Same as
city,
we
no,
did.
no city dollars
Same
has
as we
been
did.
spent on that. Sir, would you allow me to talk? Once they get through with the construction, we will sit down with them and negotiate a price.
Okay. So the same as we did. We built that with our money.
That's fine.
A little airport strives on planes like us. That airport is there because of people like us.
Okay.
The quickest way to kill an airport is just what you're doing. The first thing, excuse me, Mr. Mayor, the first thing is to have a city that knows nothing about an airport step in and try to run an airport. The second thing is to have zero traffic at that airport. You're going to lose your money with the state if you have zero traffic at airport. You brought up Pollock. Look at Pollock's runway. You know why they don't have a good runway there? Because they don't have the traffic there like y'all do. They don't have the activity, the FBO like y'all do. Okay, as far as like city amenities, do you charge anybody that goes into Bulow Lake and runs their boat there?
No, sir, not the boat, but if somebody's wanting to come and rent the lake out for a boat race, okay? And I read your statement on social media saying, we ran the boat racers off. No, what we done, we
That's a
run in this
different
city as a business, okay? The past administration gave the boat racers $15,000
That's
to
a
come
different
here.
topic, Mr. Mayor. I got
Okay,
3
well, I mean,
minutes.
I'm reading your statement you put on social media, so
You
it's
could
public
reply back to
records, you know?
social media, Mr. Mayor.
So, no,
Okay.
we're running the city as a business, and
So people are using the boat, right, putting their boats in the water. I'm a
Yeah.
taxpayer person. I have to pay for that. I'm okay with that, right? So people go camping, then they apply their money towards camping. People go to your zoo boo that you have over here, which is run by city dollars.
You're
Taxpayers
at
pay
1
for
minute,
that.
1 minute, Mr. Coran.
Yes, sir.
You're at 1 minute.
Okay. Thank you. At the end of that last lease, and it was brought up by Mr. Martin, that the city would either pay 70% of the value of our hangars to buy them from us, or they would renew the lease. We just asked for y'all to work with us. That's all. We never wanted to fight with the city of Pineville. We have always loved that airport, and we have always wanted to be there. We got a demand letter for $150, thinking that that was the city's owned those buildings, and then when they found out, it's like they got hurt again and said, no, we don't own it, but we still want $150. Any questions?
I just want to say, Mr. Duran, I appreciate you guys being there. I've been in Pineville majority of all my life, 95% of my life. And I've seen an airport, and I live not too far away from it growing up as a kid. And we go to Bulow Lake, we saw planes and different things. I never knew exactly what all was entailed in that. For years, we've always gotten money, Mr. Davies, to come forth, and he explained it to us about the runways or what have you. I had an interesting time that I spent with you guys, and y'all gave us a tutorial. I was given more information than I knew. I was under the impression at the beginning that possibly the city of Pineville owned those hangars. And then as we talked and found out more information, and I got all the legal contracts from over the years from you guys, I could see why things hadn't been. I'm going to just say that however it goes, I hope you guys stay there. You know, there's a little school out there. There's a shop out there. The hangars that are in question, I looked at them. They would look like they were built out of drill stem, if I had to say what they were. And they were not in, you know, the best of conditions. And, you know, I didn't see a whole bunch of things that would actually have a bunch of cost. I saw a trickle charger, I think, on 1 or 2 units out there. So, you know, it is a major asset. It made me look into some things on other airports, some other folks that I know that have planes that live in Pineville, but they can't appreciate the airport because the size. And I never knew that, you know, this was a little bit over half a mile, and they got some that, you know, right under a mile that would allow their planes to be utilized, to utilize those airports. So I don't know, you know, how this all go or what my fellow council people are thinking. I know what I'm thinking, but we appreciate you guys.
Thank you. I have one question. Has anybody read the lease that the city has for that airport? Anybody read the lease?
You talking about the previous lease or the current lease?
The current lease that says that y'all are allowed to sublease as a municipality.
Sir, are you talking about the lease that was assigned to us in 1957 by the city of
The
Alexandria?
one that's in place now.
I'm asking, the one between the hangar owners in the city or the one
No,
between?
the one between the city and,
The state of Louisiana?
yes.
Yes, I have.
You have a copy of that?
I do,
Okay. And y'all are allowed to sublease?
which is what we're doing,
Okay.
right? We're subleasing the hangar owners, which is accord with the lease, which also requires public bid.
Okay. Y'all will be the first airport that I ever hear that has public bid for tie downs.
Okay,
The
well,
first one in the United States.
well then, but I will tell you, there's Attorney General opinion, 2012.
It's 2004.
It's 2012 Louisiana 916 that directly addressed 2 airports, one from New Iberia, Iberia Parish Authority, and also addressed the Lemaire Municipal Airport out of Jeanerette directly. And Lemaire did not receive FAA funds, so the 2:135.4, or .1, fourth paragraph doesn't apply. And it said that you had to use the public lease exchange law that requires public bid. So the airport in Jeanerette had to use public bid to lease their spaces.
So each one of those tie downs out there, which is a space that we're using, we have to bid for that.
If it's non-FBO, you will, yes.
Okay.
And that's part of this ordinance as well.
Okay.
If it's non-FBO, yes.
Thank
If
you.
I could, just one, kind of to echo Councilman Dorn, you know, and I appreciate y'all showing me around the other evening. That's a closer look than I've ever had, and I've only been out there briefly before for events. But as far as the price, $150, I don't know if we can do anything in regards to that, but the number has been bounced around from time to time over the last week or two, $50. And in regard to other places, and I know we can't compare to some, but we can compare to others, and it may be just hearsay, but I recall hearing recently that I think it was back in '99 when we were going through a transition of not 1, but 2, maybe 3 administrations over a 2.5 year period, that at one time there was a discussion of going up to $60. And I think that all got maybe lost in the shuffle. I don't know. And like I said, that
I
may
think
not
at the
be here
time,
nor
that was
there.
too expensive.
And that's over 30 years ago. Well, I mean, we're talking about over
Right.
30 years ago. I mean, there's got to be, I would think, a happy medium somewhere. I don't know. I do understand that the city of Pineville and our taxpayers are paying a lot of money to maintain that. And I'm not saying that the pilots and the folks who are utilizing the airport need to, take all that under your wings, so to speak. But it's like, there's got to be a better way to come up, and so,
Without us, the city will pay exactly what they're paying now,
yeah.
without us. Maybe a little bit less on electricity, I can't imagine a whole lot. But the grass will still have to be mowed, everything will still have to be maintained. The city will pay exactly the same without us.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Corn, let me just say,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
just want to make a personal note to say thank you for, I know that you have taken Chief Mixon's son flying, Cade, and I just want to say
Oh, yes.
thank you for doing that. That meant a lot to him and to Chief, and I'm grateful that you did it. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Thank you.
So
Mr.
just to address the Pafford comment, so Pafford is 100% building all the infrastructure out. The only thing the city did was to put, our utility department placed a separate water meter for them. So they will be metered separately because they're having a hangar and they will have commercial living quarters coming in. So it's the CEA with them because of the improvements that they're doing to the airport, the infrastructure that they will come in and bring. So if 20 years, if they leave after their lease is over with, or what's assigned to them, then that infrastructure still remains. It's still just a space lease or a space agreement. Correct, Mr. Villar, am I saying it correctly? A space agreement with Pafford. There's no difference in Pafford. To address something that Mr. O'Neill said, if you look at the $60, and I had finance do a quick tumble in his head, if you do that with a CPI adjustment of what we use for water and sewer routinely, we're at about $130 anywhere. Anyhow, and part of this is CPI adjustments to the future. So just to kind of draw that line.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Well, I would just say thank you for, coming up. I know Dave serves on the Pineville Downtown Development District and, and is serving the city, and I know you do service flights as well, so we appreciate that. And this is just a tough situation, and certainly something that we have to really think about.
Well, do we want to have some sort of a discussion about changing that minimum price?
Well, there may be more folks that are.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I also wanted to respond, Ms. Corrin. When you and I visited, and I pointed out that the original 1989 lease had a option for it that at the end of the lease, the city could purchase back at 70% of the then appraised value. That was one of the options. I certainly wish that had happened in 1999, and I think that would have avoided where I'm at right now. My concern is when Mr. Villar points out to us I hate to use their term legal jeopardy, but we're
Kind of stuck.
we're stuck on something. We got to find something, but we got to act on it. And this bid issue is
It's tough.
it's concerning. It is concerning. Do we know how many non-hangared tie downs the city has? In our ordinance, we're saying 150 for the hangared and then 75 for the non-hangared. Do we know how many those are?
I counted about
The
7 or 8.
non-hangers aren't going to have any utilities.
Well, I didn't know if, how many of those were under the control of the FBO or how many were city.
Yeah, I think you could put a lot of tie downs out there without utilities attached to them pretty inexpensively.
I was just curious. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Gold.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Corn.
okay.
Appreciate
Just want to say that we were here to work with y'all. I mean, we want to stay at that airport. I wish that there was something that we could do, just kick the can down the street, negotiate,
Yeah, I don't think
talk. We don't want to leave. We like that airport. We want to see it grow. We want to see that airport grow more than y'all do, trust me. We love being there. So, thank
Thank
y'all
you.
very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Correa.
State your name and your address, please, sir.
Sir, J.B. Vaillant, 5 Walkers Lane, Alexandria. I've been in aviation professionally for 59 years. I have no problem with a lease with the city or governance of the city. The problem we're having is the price. And I will tell you $150 is okay with me. But when you compare all the other small airports that are in this bucket, you're way out of line for a parked airplane. And so you may do this ordinance, that's what it'll be. But if you actually get the facts, people are throwing around numbers tonight about hangars and 150 and 175. You are not addressing apples to apples. You are mixing it up to justify the $150. But if you look actually at the numbers of tie-downs in our state, you're going to see they're all less than $50. So $1 a day, $2 a day, buy fuel, it's free. So I don't know where all these numbers come from, but I hear them, and apparently some people believe them, but you're way, way, way out of line for the service you're going to provide, a tie-down spot at the Bulow Airport. Ma'am, the electrical issue, we, as the airplane, this group of 10, we're happy to put it on a meter. We assume it. This group of 10, we're happy to put it on a water meter.
You're 1 minute, sir.
Yes, sir, thank you. We're happy to put it on ourselves. We don't need 10 meters, water meters. There is no sewer out there. There's grass.
No, there's no sewer.
There's 3 water hoses, and there's electricity. But we can relieve the city of the electricity, and happy to do it. So the discussion of the price is key. You're way outside fair market value. And I just want to pass that on of 55 years of doing this. You're way outside. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, General.
Appreciate you.
Just one comment. So there's going to be a certain amount, and we haven't determined that yet. This will be the negotiation with the FBO. There's going to be a certain amount of tie-downs spots that will go with the FBO as part of his lease agreement. The tie-downs we're talking about would be the ones that are unassigned to the FBO. And through negotiation, we don't know what that number is. So if the FBO decides to drop that number to something else, then that's a him and a plane owner. So that's two separate, just to make sure the council understands, it's two separate buckets.
Yeah. Okay.
Fred Reed, 311 Camille Street, Alexandria. I want to tell you about your little airport. I started flying there in 1979. I moved here in 79, and I've been flying out of there since 1979. I've seen the airport go and come. I've gone through 3 different FBOs there. I've been there when there was no FBO at all. And back in the late 80s, there was only about 3 or 4 airplanes out there. 3 or 4. And I don't even think there was an FBO there. So a group of us got together with the city. Mr. Billy Brown, who started the ball rolling, talked to the city, got us permission to build hangars on a tie-down spot. So a tie-down spot goes for about $15 to $25 a month at most airports. So we got the agreement to build the hangars at our expense. And since then, we've maintained the hangars. We have improved the hangars. I have climbed personally up on my hangar to patch spots that were leaking at no liability to the city. That was because it was my hangar. If I'd fallen off of it, it was my hangar. Now you want to take possession of my hangar. The administration started off with some wrong information. They started off with the information that they own the hangars. And we had a meeting in July with the administration, and we sat down. They said, we own the hangars. Well, no, y'all don't own the hangars. We own them. So we tried to present them information that they did not own the hangars. They would not accept that information at all, period. So in turn, we had to get an attorney to prove that we built the hangars, that we own the hangars. And so we have actually helped build the airport since 1989, because from 3 or 4 airplanes out there, we probably have 20 now. And the FAA and the state looks at this. They know where our airplanes are. They know how many airplanes are at that airport. So, for your consideration.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, all in favor, and roll call vote, please.
Hold on.
On number 9, I have a motion and a second already.
All right. So are we gonna, didn't we mention discussing the minimum?
It's,
If we were to discuss
To
now the
amend it.
minimum bid on both of the prospects in here. Yeah, if we can do that. It's not, right.
If there's something that
We want to change?
changed, then it has to be offered a substitute motion.
Okay.
correct.
You got an idea, Councilman Doran?
All right, I'd like to offer a substitute motion that, in this, where the minimum is 150, that we take it to 75.
Okay.
Do we need to do the other one too, you think, Mr. Doran?
Do it now?
Do we need to do the other one too? Is the other one in there? The one
The
without
other
the
one-
What about
utilities?
the tie
The one with
down?
no
Which one?
The tie
utilities?
down is
The
75.
tie down 75.
The tie down, what I'm hearing is, I think currently we're at $15 or so. Okay. Is that monthly or?
Monthly.
Okay. I didn't hear very much information as to where other places were on that. I did have some information, but I think even if we went a 75% increase on there, if we went 15, let's go to $25.
On the
You know,
tie down.
Huh?
On the tie down.
On the tie down.
And both of those are going to be bid, right? Mr.
They're gonna be
Doran?
bid,
Yeah.
so, if there are as many people as I've been told that are looking, then it'll change, but if it's not, then this is where we'll be.
And then with the 75, you're talking about
That's minimum bid of
minimum
75.
Minimum
bid
bid.
of 75.
That's the spots with the utilities attached
I
to
would
it.
think if our current pilots, tenants at the airport are agreeable to the 75, and anything moving forward, new leases, can we make that 150, or does that have to be 75?
Right now, where we
It'll
are
be-
is,
It'll be the
it's
minimum
gonna be
bid.
bidded
It's
regardless.
the
Because
minimum.
there's got to be a bid regardless.
Yeah, we have to have.
All we're doing is setting the it's our job to set the minimum
Set the
bid.
minimum.
Yeah, so there's that. And I've got one other question, maybe someone can answer. When I was out there touring last Thursday evening, there were 2 airplanes sitting on flat, dry rotted tires, which, correct me if I'm wrong, I weren't sure who owns one of them.
I don't think anyone else out there was kind of
I'm
informed on that either.
moving forward because they're taking up 2 tie-down spots. What can we do to have those airplanes removed from the premises? And do we have any of those hangars that are empty and being used as just storage by people? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm just thinking as an eyesore with those 2
I think
airplanes
there's going to
sitting
be people
there.
beating down the door.
I think there's something in motion legally that's going on right now with that particular one with the grass growing up around it. I think there's a legal issue that's happening with that.
Okay.
Okay.
I think it's being addressed.
You talking about the Civil Air Patrol plant?
Thank
Okay.
Is that the Civil Air
Okay.
Patrol craft that you talking about? It's another one? Oh,
That's a functioning aircraft, but the other one that the grass is growing up,
yeah.
somebody apparently abandoned.
Oh,
I think there's an issue right now, there's something right now
Okay.
Okay,
No, go ahead.
thank you.
So, and I consulted with Mr. Vilar to make sure I was correct in making his statement. Going forward in this whole process of the hangars that are empty, part of the lease is going to be that the hangar has to be used for aviation purposes. We haven't went out and inspected any hangars. So if there's a hangar that's there that's empty, that has a barbecue pit in it.
Thank you.
That does not fit aviation purposes, and therefore that it's gonna have to have a plane in it. That you just can't take
You
up
can't
space.
just,
That's understandable.
Yeah, absolutely.
okay.
Thank you.
There's even places that say it has to be for other than annuals or maintenance, a functioning aircraft, because there are some aircraft that break and use the street.
Yes,
Right.
It's good.
There are some places that do address that.
that's good.
That's part of what
Thank you.
it will address. I just wanted, Mr. O'Neill asked the
Yeah,
question, I just
yeah.
wanted to make sure,
Yeah.
I know that was something that was.
So I have a substitute
Thank you,
motion
Mr.
to,
Can I ask a question? Mr. Vilar, if we go with the substitute motion for the minimum price change on both of them, I forgot what the numbers were, do we have to include in that some different provision for how we might handle the utilities, where the utilities are provided? Or could that be part of the bid package and the understanding when you sign up for the lease? Nowhere in here do we talk about utilities. It's just like we're just a landlord and we're
But,
going to lease.
So, triple net lease, and then under this provision says including but not limited to, and it lists certain things not included, utilities just didn't happen to be listed. I will tell you that let's just clean it up. And so if we're going to make a substitute motion at what Mr. Dorn suggested, then as part of that substitute motion is that the triple net lease
Would include,
will
Could
include
include-
utilities.
Could include a
will.
additional
Will.
charge
Will
for that.
include,
Or
not
will.
could.
Will include
Will include that.
utilities, and then as we draft that triple net lease, maybe I anticipated something I shouldn't have. I anticipated having utilities in a triple net, because that's the only ones I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
But we'll go ahead and make it clear now and make that part of the ordinance, and then that'll be that.
so Mr. Dorn has
It's not
made
gonna be-
a substitute motion for the hangars, a minimum bid of $75, the tie downs at $25, and a triple net lease where we will pay the water and electricity. Is-
No.
No,
You're not,
they're going to pay it.
they're gonna pay, they're gonna pay the, okay?
There's going to be a
that's
provision
gonna
for
be your
some
motion.
kind
So
of.
it says now including but not limited to certain things, and I'll just add the word utilities
So
behind it.
we'll have to
You
figure
know.
out some kind of charge for that, because we won't be metered. It'll be just a ballpark,
So,
If I need to include it, I need to include
some
it.
amount, yeah.
and I just have one more question to try to clarify. I didn't see anything in here where, you know, we're renting out these spaces to the current aviators. And then, but I understand that some of those spots have been subleased out to other aviators. You know, is that something that will end here, that they're doing leases with us, and if they're not going to use it, then they terminate it, and somebody else then will bid on it, rather than aviators that are out there being able to sublease to somebody else?
Okay, you're going to have to explain that one again. I'm sorry, you lost me.
I would
Well,
think so.
that's why I'm just trying to
Yeah, I
confirm.
think so.
and-
If
you
you're
don't win.
if you're outbidded, Mr. Coran, you could either work something out and sell it to the new guy that got the highest bidder, okay, you could sell it to him, or you could disassemble it and move it.
Or
Yes,
leave
but-
it. Or
but-
leave it.
But then the
Or
question.
leave it,
Or you can donate.
or don't,
Let's
you know.
just, for the sake of what my question is, to make sure I can be clear on it. And Dave, Mr. Coran, I'll just use you as an example. If you have your plane right now, you're renting a space, and then you decide that you're going to move your plane somewhere else, and you sublease your space to somebody else, that really shouldn't happen.
It's going to be subject to whatever happens here.
Okay, so I mean,
Through the
if he
bid process.
leaves, then he should, you know,
But, so let's say,
that subleases
yeah,
out.
so I'm
you know,
going
but
to
the-
use Mr. Coran again as an example. So, sorry, you.
We
No, you
appreciate
were there,
you.
so I remember your name, so we'll use Mr. Coran. So Mr. Coran has it, and he says, you know, I'm not going to bid. I'm just going to move my plane, but he already has a sublease in place, then that sublessee needs to bid, because if not, he may be asked to leave, and then that'll be between the sublessee and Mr. Coran.
But in the future, what I'm saying though is everybody's bid, we got everybody using it. they decide to move their plane and they can't sublease that out. They have to turn in a termination of their spot, and then we bid it out.
No, the lease,
They get that lease for 10 years, and
so let's talk about that. So if they bid, Mr. Coran bids and gets the spot. And Mr. Coran says, you know what, I'm going to get a bigger plane, and I'm going to, get a jet that needs 5,000-foot runway. And he does that, but he still has the lease with the city of Pineville. The leases in the past all included a provision that allowed the hangar space lessee to sublease to someone else. So if he did that, but he already had a sublease in place, then he would still be allowed to do it as long as the payments continued. In other words, he would be responsible for the payments, not the sublessee,
right.
because that's between him and the sublessee.
So the payments could continue to 75, but he could sublease it out for 150 if somebody would pay it.
That's the current arrangement.
So we're saying we can change that in the new arrangement,
That's correct.
that we would not allow subleases and
If
people
you
making
chose to,
money on this
and that would be
deal.
part of the lease that I would draft and include in the
I don't
packet.
think we need to
We
allow
also
that
need
kind of
to make sure that
behavior.
we're alerted whenever there's changes in ownership.
Sure, yeah, and that'll be part of the lease as well.
Okay.
I think that's a great idea that's been brought up in some, individual conversations
not
that we
illegal.
had, but we
Yeah.
wouldn't do it here, but I think it's a great idea.
I think we get past this right here, I think that probably should be something we'll talk about thereafter.
I'm good with it.
Okay.
But I think we should make sure that if the sublease.
And the language?
Sublease should not happen. That if
Yeah,
they
sublease,
leave,
yeah.
then
Yeah.
they should terminate their spot and we bid it out again.
I
think
agree
the
with
new
that. It's
leases are
just
gonna have
gonna be
all that.
finding it out.
Okay.
Well,
And here's why I say this. Let's say I own an airplane and I have that hangar, but there's an issue that I'm not gonna be able to apply for here, or maybe I'm transitioning to another airplane, and I wanna let somebody who has their plane parked outside take my hangar and pay me the $75 to pass on to y'all, but when I'm done, I'll get back into it.
Yeah, and so to answer that, it's certainly okay to include in a lease that says, if we're going to lease to Mr. Coran for $75 and he chooses to sublease it out, it's at $75, not $150, so it's not
Yeah.
the right way. I'm
And he
not
can
being
still-
disparaging, but Mr. Coran, it's not a profit center for Mr. Coran.
yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay.
So do we need a second then to
So I-
Councilman
We've got another
Dorn's?
question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, quick, sir.
So it's gonna go to bid, and it's gonna be a specific amount. Let's use the 150 just for right now, because that's out there. So somebody comes in and bids 151. I have a building there, now I am kicked off. Do we, in any kind of grandfather consideration, that this could get, you know what I'm saying, is that we are anchored, and a guy comes in and says, I'll bid 75 cents more than you did.
It's a bid.
Now I've got to move.
That's a bid.
I think the state law,
Consideration that we are there,
There may be, well,
because we could all get wiped right off
Yeah.
yeah.
by 10 bucks.
The only consideration I'm aware of is that they could, depending on how the bid process goes, is when it becomes effective. And so it would give you, Dave, I'm sure the city would be reasonable, give you time to sell it, vacate, whatever it happens to be. But I don't know anything in the law that allows us to grandfather, because I looked. And if there is, I'd love to know, so we can try to figure out a way around
some
this. But
technology that
I'm
would
not
allow
aware of anything that allows me to do that. It's just, I'm in a box where I don't have a lot of leeway.
It's kind of the same thing as our blacktops, boats and stuff.
Name and address real quick. Got 3 minutes, sir, real quick. We already got a motion on the floor.
My name is Marlon Thompson. I live at 309 Riverside Drive. I've been to a couple of the gentlemen's breakfasts and the fly-ins in the past, so I'm a little bit familiar with it. My question is if these individuals leave, is there a big demand for the space that they're sitting in?
we don't know. We think so.
I
but we
mean,
don't
because
know.
I don't know, I mean, I got a couple of friends with airplanes, but it's two, out of all the friends that I've got. So it's not a lot of airplanes in people's backyards, probably for good reason. And so I would hate to see these individuals who put the time and the effort and all of the things that went into making the Pineville Municipal Airport what it is, to be ostracized and given a scarlet letter just because they didn't want to pay, 600% more. So anyway, it just, for whatever it's worth. And I guess while I got the microphone here, I want to commend the city on another front. I live at Riverside Drive, as I'd mentioned, and the cleanup from the houses that have been torn down and the getting rid of the blight has been a blessing and an attribute to that whole area. Just riding down the street when you don't see that level of blight, it's a true amenity. And, being where I'm at, it's a true blessing. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for
Appreciate it.
noticing.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it. Thank you,
It's been a
Laura.
long time we've been working
And
on
just to
it.
kind of answer, your statement there, I think that's what the council, is feeling the same thing, in a sense why the discussion has come around to amend this ordinance to the point where if it passes, it will be a lot, half the price, from 150 to 75 and from 125 to or 75 down to.
Well, and
down to
traditionally,
25.
when you take a cost of living increase or something across the board, you incrementally get there. You don't start at $1 and go to 1,000. I would say, previous administrations, maybe they should have went up on the rates.
Yes, they should
And
have.
they didn't.
They
But I
didn't.
wouldn't
And-
penalize the only people that's done anything at that airport for the most part. And again, if these guys leave, the experimental aircraft and the small aviation that's able to land there is a limited pond. You don't have a lot of people with airplanes just hanging around.
I don't know. There's a
Thank
two-year
you.
waiting list, all I'm seeing.
Okay, Mark, real quick.
No, I'm just listening. I want to make sure we get the ordinance right.
Okay, all right, so we have a substitute motion for hangar rental to go to $75 minimum bid, tie downs, minimum of $25 bid, okay?
That's number one. Number two, I believe there was a mention to include utilities in a triple net
In the
lease.
triple net.
And then number three was
You okay with that?
there was going to be a provision added that said if there's a sublease, it's at the same amount as the base lease.
Okay,
Yes.
you good with that, Mr. Dorn?
That's the only three that I'm aware of. If
Okay.
there's something else.
So I have a motion,
I second.
I have a
Councilman Dorn.
second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilman Dorn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Frederick,
Yes.
Councilman Boucher,
Yes.
Councilman Martin.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, the motion passed.
All right,
We'll see what the market's
Thank you.
bearing out there.
yeah. Item number 10, consider adopting an ordinance and amend and modify the code of ordinance and add Chapter 24, Article IV, Section 24-52, relative to fixed base operator at the Pineville Municipal Airport.
You need a motion? I'll make that motion,
Got a
Mayor.
motion? Got a second? Discussion?
Yeah, Tom had the second. Councilman Boucher. You have some comments about this?
I don't have anything. I'll just answer questions.
I wanted to ask a couple of questions on it. I noticed the previous FBO contract was a 25-year contract. This was a 10.
Correct.
I'm curious if the council would be willing to add in some renewals to allow whoever whether it's Mr. Lonnie and I think he ought to also address this as a resident, but if you'd like to, you don't have to. But I'm curious if it would be willing to entertain the idea of almost like an automatic option. We did that on the, Mr. Mark.
Could we do 10 and, we could do 10 and 10 on this? We've had this discussion for FBO, we could do 10 and 10, I think.
So the current ordinance as stands is 10 years with no option. What can we add options for renewal to it? The previous one was a 25-year. It's kind of like, reminds me of the franchise fees. Those are 25-year agreements.
If I'm not, and I will tell you, I'll have to pull the statute. If I'm not mistaken, and I'll check this to confirm, the max is 25. So you could do a 10 and 10, for example, 10, 10, 5.
With the option
But I
to
don't think
renew?
you can go, yes, but with certain adders, but I don't think you can go past 25, but I will
Okay.
confirm
And
that.
I thought I saw in some of the paperwork somewhere, it may have been the original one, it was 10,555. So it added up to 25. Was that the original one?
I believe it's a 25-year limit.
And that gives the city a chance to readdress or the FBO to get out or whatever. But I think it'd be good to add
We've got the
some
cost of
options
living thing in
for
there too,
renewals
right?
in here. Also, let's see.
And legally, I have no
CPI's in
issue
there
with that.
too.
And Mr. Martin, if y'all do move forward with that, I would suggest that we do the 10, 5, 5, and 5.
Okay.
So that way, because I would hate for a future administrator, whoever's in place
Have their hand-
15 years from now to be bound by if the market completely changes.
Right. And then the, I had another question. I'm trying to find it as I look at the ordinance here. With regards to the mowing, I had one of the gentlemen, when I was out there, mentioned, and I think Mr. Lonnie mentioned, that currently the city does like a zero turn throughout the vast majority of the space.
Correct.
Several of the pilots have told me that many of the airports, they basically do that zero turn, 25 feet out or out to the lights, for example, and then they'll bush hog beyond that. In fact, somebody told me that a couple of them are actually baling hay on the larger, is that what you told me, Mr. General Bayon? I don't want them baling hay out there, but I wonder.
There are places that the grass can grow.
Right.
As long as it's safe, I think, and fine.
Well, and we've kind of had this discussion as thinking forward. We mow a lot in the city.
That's right.
And we don't want to make the airport a place that gets to hay length. So, I mean, that's part of what we would discuss with the future FBO in the lease is exactly what's going to be acceptable. I'm going to use a golf term on the fringe and in the rough of what would be acceptable as opposed to the putting green.
I think that'd be a great conversation to have, that we would have a conversation to allow variances, because there is different costs. I asked Mr. Humphreys, our city's cost for mowing, he said right now, which is not included in the 114,000 or the 40,000. You said the mowing cost is not included in that.
Correct.
And you said it was about $19,000 a year
Just for labor.
just for labor, in addition, equipment and
Equipment be different.
and gas and whatnot. So whoever bids on the FBO needs to consider, they're looking at, a $25,000 cost to maintain it how we have it right now. And so,
We're doing more than, we're not doing 5 to 8 inches. We're not letting it go to 8 inches, I don't think.
No.
no,
So, but that's in the-
it's beautiful.
But that's in the ordinance, that they,
We're keeping it cut. That's why our labor costs and our fuel costs is more, because we're mowing it very frequently.
Regularly.
but
Every 3 or 4 years, Mr. Lucia, to tell you, we have to grub the end of the runway by the FAA requirements. That to go out there and cut the trees down, you gotta have so much distance at the end of the runway cleared. That's about every 3 or 4 year requirement.
yeah.
What was that? You said saves money?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Depending.
Oh, state money.
But you are on the correct track. Runway environment, grass must be cut below the lights.
Right.
Outside, the rough, it's up to your taste.
But I think we want to stay at the fringe and we don't want to ever get to the rough.
That's your call. But the point of the hay baling at some airports.
No, I understand, yeah.
It just gives you an idea that.
Right.
How high they're letting it go.
Yeah.
So does that 2D have to be reworded?
I think that matches the sort of the
2D
city.
is the FBO shall maintain and mow all grassy spaces enclosed within the fenced area of the Pineville Municipal Airport.
I think that's part of a negotiation and the enter into and negotiate that gives the mayor the access to be able to negotiate those final terms as we go
Well,
forward.
let's make sure the wording of the ordinance doesn't lock them, Mark.
That's what I want
Well,
to check.
5 to 8 inches is what the code requires for
But
everybody else.
that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the way it reads now. It says they will do it. If there's a
I
negotiation.
think the
that
way
we're
it's
gonna
written
do
now
it.
is that whoever the FBO gets the whole,
I don't think it needs to be taller than 8 inches.
We're not talking about the height. We're talking about who mows.
Yeah,
you
and
know,
how
right-
much
right.
whoever required to.
So
we
Councilman
just
Martin,
wanna
would
make
you
sure
like
that-
to,
The FBO's gonna do the mowing.
to modify your motion and include that in there, in the language?
Depends on the
I'd like to offer a substitute motion.
Okay.
To add the 3 5-year renewals, or options, I should say.
So you'd like to do the 10 years plus the 5, and go like
Oh,
that?
shall maintain and mow, yeah.
Yes,
The
sir.
10-5-5?
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to ask for.
Okay, go ahead and put that in the substitute
Okay, I'll
motion.
make that substitute motion, subject to some further discussion if others have, but I'll add that with the 10-5-5.
Okay,
And that discussion is gonna work in lines of, maintenance and those things like that?
that's
I
correct.
think so.
Yeah, so leave it up to
To
negotiation.
negotiate
at
that.
that point.
Negotiation.
Yeah.
I'd like there to be options for negotiation. I think it's
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
we don't need, I'm afraid sometimes we get too specific in ordinance, and
lock
we've
it in.
locked you in,
Right.
and whoever the FBO is, so,
Okay.
so how can,
Well, how do we do that?
Just so we're clear,
Can we just take it out?
the ordinance is the minimum.
right,
So whatever y'all decide that's in the ordinance, that's going to be the minimum that's included in the bid packet. So if Christie said, and I heard part of what you said, if Christie says the minimum cut of the grass is 10 inches, and someone bids and say, well, cut it 4 inches, then it's at 4 inches if they win the bid.
but there are some
So-
spaces within the fenced area that we don't even cut to that. As you get closer to the lake, you can't get equipment.
I'm not looking, I'll just use that as an
Right,
example.
right. That's why I
So
wanna make sure.
If there's something, if you say shall not cut everything within the fence, I need some sort of definition to talk about what they will cut, to include that as part of the minimum.
So the question wasn't around the height of the grass.
I get it. I was just using that
Yeah.
for an example.
But I mean, the way it reads, it shall maintain, and I just want to make sure that that doesn't lock in if the deal is, if Lonnie wins the bid or whoever wins the bid doesn't want to cut it and we keep cutting it, you know,
No,
do we
no.
lock in that the FBO, whoever wins the bid, has to, you know, do?
The way that's written is whoever wins the bid cuts the grass.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. So I
Well,
mean,
If y'all want to do something different, I just need to put it in the ordinance.
Could I give to the mayor the option that the FBO would contribute, it could allow the mayor to negotiate so that they would contribute towards the cost of it? Right?
That's
So
fine.
how,
if they choose not to mow.
That's
Contract with
fine.
the
Just
city.
put that in your substitute motion, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Have y'all considered that the FBO operator and the manager are actually two different people?
Yes.
The manager actually handles stuff like that versus the FBO?
Well,
I've asked
The
that-
manager
I've asked
is the
that question,
FBO.
do we need both of them?
To take on both parties, sacrifice a lot themselves, to take on that role as a trade. So, but at most airports, that are two different types of people. The manager is responsible for all the grass cutting and everything else. The FBO is not.
Okay.
So maybe we take this mow thing out completely?
Yeah.
I think Mr. Lonnie is, you want to come to the podium, sir?
My name is Lonnie Lucius. I live at 351 Kings Drive, Pineville. I've worked at that airport since 2000, been the FBO manager, had the contract with the city since 2006. In that time, I've seen, massive changes as far as based aircraft, the development of the airport, the millions of dollars that have come in from the state on grants. We've seen the city kick in enormous amounts of manpower, labor out there to keep the airport operating. It's a great airport. We employ lots of people there. We bring in income for the city, state tax-wise. We bring in dollars to the local economy. I'm not a great public speaker. I don't think on my feet well. Looking over the ordinance, I did have a couple questions. One, I understand this goes out to just a closed bid, whoever wants to bids on it. Is that correct? Okay. And then the other thing I have, that bid proposal or the ordinance, like I were mentioning, it's incredibly specific. How much of that can be negotiated after this ordinance is passed? Can any of the specifics in that be negotiated that are very specific?
if the council has certain items that would be, that are mandatory to be included in the FBO agreement, whatever that is, that's the minimum that needs to go into that ordinance. So if there are other things that will be negotiated or other things to be talked about, they can be mentioned, but in the ordinance, I need to know the mandatory minimums of whatever those things are. So when you're looking at that list, if you see something that either needs to change, similar to what we just did on the hangar leases, or if you say, look, and when it comes to, just because y'all were talking about grass cutting, that if we're gonna let the mayor negotiate that, then we can put a provision in there, and then it's up to the mayor to negotiate it, that either the FBO, as part of their bid, says we'll take it all on, or the mayor will, negotiate some sort of consideration or something. But on the ordinance, I need to know the minimums, and that anything, we know then that whoever's the FBO and they want to put in a bid, they have to at least meet these items.
Correct.
So I'm not helping a whole lot, other than in the ordinance, I just need to know the mandatory have to, here's the minimums.
So,
So are we ready for this ordinance?
So for 2B, as an example, if I'm following Mr. Vilar, so for 2B, I think was the D. 2D, you could amend it or substitute it and say grass cutting will be negotiated by the mayor, or the grass cutting provisions of the airport will be negotiated by the mayor.
Add that at the end, negotiated by the mayor.
yeah, I would add that as part of my substitute motion, that the FBO shall maintain and mow or contribute to the city's cost of maintaining and mowing as negotiated by the mayor.
There you
Is
go.
that acceptable?
Yeah,
That's good enough. Okay, so I have a motion. I need a second.
Second.
Got a second?
Was Mr. Lucius done?
Are my 3 minutes up? Or-
Well,
sorry.
I did have one
Sorry,
more.
Lonnie, we're
Okay.
jumping ahead of you there, but
One more thing, the ordinance itself doesn't include any language considering airport manager position. So the original contract, we acted as airport manager in exchange for use of the facility, the FBO building and hangar to operate out of. The airport manager position, you're interfacing with Pan American, with the state DOT, supervising the activity at the airport, watching for unsafe operation. We're out there daily, monitoring traffic, greeting people that arrive to the airport. And there's a lot that goes into it. A lot of municipalities, they have to hire an airport manager, or it's a city employee that sometimes is or is not familiar with aviation, so you have varying degrees of success with that. Is that position still included as the FBO, and is there sufficient consideration as to the cost that imposes on the FBO?
That was, and Mr. Vilar and I had this conversation, that was part of the negotiation that we were going to do with you after I spoke to you last time, after tonight, if we got the okay to do it, that we would negotiate, that would be a negotiation point with you to move forward. It may be split after this.
Right.
We don't know, but that
Understood.
was something we would have to discuss in the future.
So if it's not addressed specifically, then the mayor has the options of negotiating.
to negotiate that role, and, yeah.
Correct.
I'm concerned that we lock you down too much with too many restrictions.
No, correct, we want to work with Lonnie and everything at the airport and stuff, so we want to find out what he's comfortable with and what he's not comfortable with, and continue providing good quality service to the airport and stuff.
I appreciate that consideration, and I will say, FBO's aviation, general aviation in general, it's a razor-thin margin. You don't see FBOs that have lasted 25 years. I don't know if anybody here knows of anyone in the state that's lasted as we have. Excuse me?
You're 1 minute.
Oh, sorry. So it's a razor-thin margin. We've made it work. Some years we turn a profit, some years we don't. We would like to sit down with the city and see what we can do more.
Right.
We understand the city's position needing to cut your expenses out there. I just want to make sure that it's done in such a way that service can continue to be offered. The flight school, we have hundreds of people we've trained over the years that have gone on to good careers in aviation. We have hundreds of airplanes we work on every year to keep these guys flying. And they're not just recreational pilots that we're keeping flying. These are some planes that are used as a business asset, bringing income into the area. But thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Lonnie. Thank you.
I think the airport's an asset. Oh, let me turn my mic on. Your airport's an asset, what you've done there, what the pilots have done, what the EAA has done, phenomenal resource. And hopefully we get all the legal stuff ironed out and we can move forward in even bigger and better things. So
Most definitely.
I made that motion, the substitute motion with the 10.555 and the mowing options by the mayor. I don't know if there was a second. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, I got a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman O'Neill.
Yes.
Councilman Dorn.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frederick.
Yes.
Councilman Boucher.
Yes.
Councilman Martin.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, motion passed.
Thank you. Moving right along to item number 11, consider adopting an ordinance and amend modified code of ordinance and add chapter 38, article 3, section 38-72 relative to prohibition of parking or storing dual axle trailers on city streets. And what I'd also like to ask is somebody to make a substitute motion for dual axle trucks and or trailers. That way we cover both.
Mayor, I would make that as my motion to include that language. and
Okay.
So we don't have to have a substitute motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. Any discussion? If no discuss, yeah,
When you're talking about parking or storing, are you talking about a extended period or just maybe an overnight, like you pull a trailer up from your house for overnight stay?
this is the large truck and trailer, tractor stuff, 18-wheeler stuff, sir.
So if I pull up there and park my tractor in front of the house for a night, just to,
No, sir. You're good, sir.
Yeah, you're good.
You're good. You're good. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Hall. Yes, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilman O'Neill.
Yes.
Councilman Dorn.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frederick.
Yes.
Councilman Boucher.
Yes.
Councilman Martin.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, your motion passed.
Thank you. Item number 12, consider adopting an ordinance and amend modified code of ordinance and add chapter 38, article 2, section 38-45-.1 relative to reckless driving while under the influence of alcohol.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Discussion? No discussion, signify by saying aye, and roll call vote.
Councilman O'Neill.
Yes.
Councilman Dorn.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frederick.
Yes.
Councilman Boucher.
Yes.
Councilman Martin.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, your motion passed.
Thank you. New business, item 13, introduce and accept for publication, refer to zoning a petition for the annexation of 9.675 acres of property located at the intersection of LA 107 and Smith Road belonging to Mallard Creek Townhomes LLC and be rezoned to residential R2.
So move.
I have a motion, I have a second. Discussion? No discussion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays, motion carries. Item number 14, introduce and accept for publication an ordinance and amend, modify the code of ordinance and amend Chapter 2, Article 1, Section 2-1 relative to regular meetings of the mayor, city council, date, time, and place.
I'll make that motion,
I have
Mayor.
a motion. Need a second?
Second.
Second. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. Item number 15, approve a resolution ratifying and authorizing excess signatory authority of the city of Pineville bank accounts held at a Bank of Montgomery.
So moved.
I have a
Second.
motion. I have a second. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. Item number 16, approve a resolution authorizing the mayor to negotiate and enter into agreement with Keller Partners and Company LLC for federal grants and government relations services.
So move.
I have a motion. I
Second.
got a second. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. Item number 17, approve a resolution authorizing the mayor to negotiate and enter into a corporate endeavor agreement with Pafford Emergency Medical Service Incorporated and/or alternate Pafford affiliates relative to installing and construction of infrastructures and other items at the Pineville Municipal Airport.
So move.
I have a motion.
Second.
Got a second. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Item number 18, approve a resolution authorizing the mayor to negotiate and enter into a corporate endeavor agreement with Hemingway House and Stories and Spirits relative to installation and construction of improvements and parcel of land immediately adjacent to the Main Street Community Center.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. I have a second. Discussion.
It's a good little project.
If no discussion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Ms. Bonnie White, thank y'all for being here tonight and looking forward to you and your husband opening that location up. Thank you.
Good luck.
Item 19, approve a resolution authorizing and approving excavation equipment leases purchase agreement with the Freightliner M2-106 street sweeper with Cadence Equipment Finance Division of Cadence Bank. And this is for a new street sweeper.
So moved.
I have a motion. I have a second. Discussion. No discussion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Item number 20, approve a resolution declaring surplus items at the City of Pineville Marshal's Office for the purpose of selling, donating, auction, or disposal as necessary.
So moved.
I have a motion. I have a second. Discussion. No discussion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Item number 21, approve of resolution and move the November 11th, 2025 zoning commission and regular city council meeting to November the 10th, 2025 at 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. Respectively.
And that has to do, Mayor, explain that?
That has to do with
Holiday?
Veterans Day holiday.
Okay, good deal.
Yes, that's all. Yes. Yes.
Instead of ordinance.
That way it don't have to lay over for 30 days.
I would have plenty of notice. It's not
Yes.
going to be a big
Yeah.
surprise typically.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Who had the
Motion.
motion and second? I'm sorry.
There was
Mayor.
no motions yet.
In a motion?
I'll move.
Kevin made a motion, second.
Tom has a second. Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. Item 22, approve a resolution and authorize the mayor to submit fiscal year 2026 through 2030 capital improvement program application for the Pineville Municipal Airport.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. I have a second. Discussion. No discussion. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carry. Is there any other business before the mayor and the council? Also, I'd like to recognize Mr. Matt Johns with the Rapides Area Planning Commission. Thank you, Matt, for being here. I need a motion to adjourn and then benediction by Mr. Kevin Dorn.
So moved.
Got a motion to adjourn. Please stand.
Let us pray. Oh, gracious and merciful Father, we come back to you again, thanking you for this opportunity and what you've done here today, Father. We ask you for wisdom and knowledge in all that we do. And Father, we saw the evidence of your work this afternoon. Father, we ask that you continue to bless this wonderful city, its administration, and all those citizens that live within our corporate limits. Father, we ask that as we leave this place, that we move on to our destinations and we find them better than we left them. These and other blessings we ask in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.